The unusual patient, Dr. June Park, was tired after working all day at his animal clinic. He rubbed his eyes and looked around the empty room. It was time to go home. The small colony of New Seoul was quiet at this hour. Most people were already in their homes. June had been on this planet for 6 years now, treating the pets of human settlers and sometimes farm animals. Just as he was about to turn off the lights, his communication device made a noise. There was a message from his old friend, Hana Kim, who worked at the spaceport emergency at landing pad 7. Please come now, bring all your medical supplies. It is life or death. June was surprised Hana never contacted him this late. It must be important. He quickly packed his emergency medical bag and went to his vehicle. The night air was cool against his skin as he drove through the empty streets of the colony. The journey to the spaceport took 20 minutes. The sky above showed strange stars and 3 bright moons that lit up the road. When he arrived at landing pad 7, he saw it was blocked off with security barriers. Hana was waiting for him, her face showing worry and fear. "Thank you for coming so fast," she said, leading him toward a strange-looking ship with unusual markings. "I did not know who else to call." "What kind of animal needs help?" June asked, carrying his heavy medical bag. Hana looked nervous and checked if anyone was listening. "This is not exactly an animal, and this meeting is not official. The colony leaders do not know about this yet." June stopped walking Hana. "What is happening?" "It is better if you see for yourself," she answered, taking him up the ramp into the ship. Inside the ship, it was very cold. So cold that June could see his breath in the air. They walked deeper into the cargo area, where large containers covered in frost were stored. In the center of the room stood 2 tall beings with bluish-gray skin. Their faces were not human, with strange eyes and ridges along their jaws. Aliens, real aliens. In all the years since humans had traveled to other planets, they had only found simple life forms like bacteria, never intelligent life until now. "This is Dr. Park," Hana said to the aliens. "He is our best animal." "Doctor," one of the aliens stepped forward. "I am Tae the alien," said, speaking Korean surprisingly well. "We need your help." "Human doctor, I am not trained to treat alien bodies," June said, feeling nervous. "Not for us," Tae replied, pointing to the largest container for them. The frosty cover of the container opened, showing something June could only describe as a dragon. The creature was huge, at least 15 feet long, with a snake-like body, 4 legs with claws and a line of spines down its back. Its scales were deep blue and shiny, though covered with frost in some areas. Most amazing were 2 see-through wings folded against its body, looking like sheets of ice. What shocked June most was that the creature was awake, its large, many-sided eyes following his movements, and beside it, curled up protectively, were 3 smaller versions. Baby dragons. "This is Nari," said Tai. "She and her young are the last frost drakes of Kiul. Their freezing systems are failing without help. They will die in a few days." June looked at the beautiful creature, then at the worried aliens. His medical training told him this was far beyond what he could do. But something inside him, the same feeling that made him travel to this faraway colony, told him he had to try. "I do not know if I can help," he said honestly, "but I will do everything I can." The alien named Tae put a 6-fingered hand on June's shoulder. "That is all we ask, human friend." As June walked closer to the container, the drake named Nari lifted her head slightly, watching him. Then, to his surprise, a voice appeared in his mind, not with words but with feelings and pictures so clear they felt like speech. "Help us, human healer. My children are dying. We are the last." June almost dropped his medical scanner. The creature could talk with its mind. This changed everything as he stood there in shock. He knew his life would never be the same again. What had started as a normal evening was now the beginning of something amazing. Little did he know that his choice to help would change not only his future, but also how 3 intelligent species would relate to each other in the galaxy. The aliens explained that Nari and her babies were suffering from a strange illness that was killing all the drakes on their home world. Kiul, the Kiulri people, that was what the aliens called themselves, had tried everything to save them, but nothing worked. They had put the last surviving drakes in sleep containers and traveled through space, looking for anyone who might help. June set up his equipment and began examining Nari. The large drake stayed very still, as if knowing he was trying to help her body. Was unlike anything June had studied before, but he noticed some things that seemed similar to earth reptiles and birds. I need to take some samples. June told Tay small amounts of blood and tissue to study. Tay nodded and helped hold Nari still while June carefully collected what he needed. The drake made no sound, but June could feel waves of discomfort in his mind. I am sorry, he thought, hoping she could sense his feelings. I will be quick. He felt a gentle feeling back, almost like forgiveness. The young drakes were in worse condition than their mother, their small bodies very weak. June took samples from them too. Working as carefully as possible, Hana watched from the side of the room, her eyes wide with wonder. These are the most beautiful creatures I have ever seen, she whispered. June agreed. The drakes were magnificent beings, their scales catching the light in ways that made them look magical when he finished. Collecting samples, June set up his portable lab equipment on a table. Tay and the other alien, who was named Sue, brought him information about drake biology and the treatments they had already tried. The information was stored in crystal devices that projected images into the air. June worked through the night studying the samples and comparing them to earth animals. Sometimes he felt Nari watching him, her mind gently touching his with feelings of hope and worry for her children. By morning, June had a theory the illness was attacking the drake's nervous systems, but in a way he had never seen before. It seemed to target the parts of their brains that allowed them to communicate with their minds. The Culery treatments had been trying to kill the illness directly, but they were damaging the special brain patterns that made the drakes who they were. June wondered if he could create a treatment that would protect those patterns while fighting the illness. He mixed medicines from his kit with compounds from the Culery supplies, creating something new, something that might work where both human and alien medicine alone had failed. As the sun rose over the colony, casting light through the ship's windows, June prepared the first dose for the weakest of the young drakes, the one he had named Day in his notes. I think this might help, June told Tay and Sue, but I cannot be sure. The aliens looked at each other, then nodded. Give the treatment. They said we trust you. June carefully injected the medicine into the small drake. Then they waited, watching the monitors that showed its life signs. Hours passed in nervous silence. Then slowly the young drake's readings began to improve. It is working, Sue said, her voice filled with amazement. The nervous system damage is stopping. Over the next day they treated all 4 drakes. By evening, even the young ones showed signs of getting better, their scales becoming brighter and more colorful. That night they all felt hope for the first time, but then Hana rushed into the ship, her face showing panic. A Culery ship just entered orbit above us, she said breathlessly. A big one. Our defense systems are targeting it. Tay looked horrified. It is a rescue mission. They are coming for us. June looked at the recovering drakes, then at his friends. What happens now? Sue's eyes were serious. If your people attack our ship, our defense systems will fight back. Neither of our people may survive what follows. In that moment, June realized he held more than the lives of 4 drakes in his hands. The first meeting between humans and aliens could become a disaster. We need to contact that ship, June said, making a quick decision. We also need to tell the colony leaders before someone makes a terrible mistake. Hana shook her head. The communication rules will get us all killed. June cut her off. This is bigger than rules. They made a plan quickly. Hana would use her security clearance to access the colony emergency broadcast system, while June would go with Tay to meet Governor Shin, who was in charge of the colony. Sue would stay with the drakes to continue their treatment. Before leaving, June went to Nari. The large drake was looking much better, her scales now shining with a healthy blue color. Her eyes watched him as he came close. I need your help, June said quietly. Show me something I can use to convince my people you are not dangerous. The drake touched his mind, and this time the connection was stronger, more clear. June saw bright images of Culery and drakes living together, building amazing cities, sharing knowledge across many generations. He saw how the drake's mind abilities had helped the Culery create technology, hundreds of years more advanced than human science. Most important, he saw their main belief connection before conquest. When the mental sharing ended, June felt new determination. "Thank you," he whispered to Nari. The journey to the colony administration building was tense. Tay wore a hooded human coat to hide his alien features, though his tall height still made people look twice. The colony was on high alert with security guards everywhere, and people looking nervously at the sky. Governor Shin was a practical woman who had worked as a diplomat before being chosen to lead New Seoul when her assistant told her that Dr. Park demanded an emergency meeting about the alien ship. She agreed right away. Her office went silent when Tay took off his hood. Governor Shin Jun said, breaking the shocked silence, "This is Tai of the Kulri people. The ship in orbit belongs to his species. They have come in peace looking for their missing scientist." Governor Shin kept her calm. "Impressive, I see. And you have been hiding an alien without telling colony authorities because first contact rules would have kept them in quarantine for years." June answered, "But we do not have. Years the Kulri came asking for our help." As June explained about the Drakes, the illness, and their treatment breakthrough, the governor's face changed from doubt to wonder. "These Drakes," she said, "they are intelligent, telepathic." Yes, Tay confirmed they were our teachers long before we reached the stars. When the illness started killing their population, we searched throughout known space for help, and you found it here with an animal doctor. Governor Shin said, "The universe works in surprising ways." Tai replied. The governor stood and walked to her window, looking up at the sky where, invisible in daylight, the Kulri ship waited. "If I agree to peaceful contact, can you promise your people will not see this as a hostage situation, that they will not attack us for keeping you here? They will follow my lead." Tay assured her, "We have spent hundreds of years avoiding conflict. We will not start with humanity." Before the governor could answer, June's communication device buzzed with an urgent message from Sue. "The young ones are fully awake, all showing signs of complete recovery." Maybe it was the timing, or maybe it was the real happiness on Tay's alien face when June shared the news. But Governor Shin made her choice. "Dr. Park, tell your friend communications to stand down. I will handle the official welcome myself." She straightened her uniform. "It seems I will make history today as the first human governor to formally greet an alien delegation." Within hours, a carefully planned meeting had been arranged at the colony's main landing field. As the Kulri shuttle came down, a beautiful ship, looking like a giant silver leaf, people gathered at a safe distance, held back by security, but unable to hide their excitement and fear. The landing ramp extended, and 3 Kulri came out wearing ceremonial clothes that sparkled like frost in sunlight. Tai stepped forward to greet them, making complex hand gestures that were returned with equal care. Governor Shin followed diplomatic protocol, perfectly welcoming the visitors to New Seoul. The lead delegate, introduced as Elder Yun, answered in perfect Korean, shocking everyone present. "We learn languages quickly," Elder Yun explained, seeing the governor's surprise. "It is a gift our Drake teachers shared with us long ago." What happened next, however, no one had planned for. From the warehouse where they were being kept, the Drakes reached out with their minds, not just to June this time, but to every human within a kilometer. Waves of thankfulness, hope, and friendship washed over the crowd. Children laughed with joy while adults stood amazed as gentle alien thoughts touched their minds for the first time in human history. In that moment, the possibility of conflict disappeared. First contact had been achieved not through formal agreements or careful diplomacy, but through the direct mental connection of one species reaching out to another in thanks. The next few days were busy, as human and Kulri leaders worked to establish official relations. Governor Shin insisted that June be part of all meetings, as he understood the Drakes better than anyone. June found himself sitting at tables with diplomats, colony officials, and Kulri elders, discussing everything from technology exchange to cultural understanding. He felt out of place, but Nara's gentle mind touch gave him courage. What amazed the human scientists most was the revelation that the Drakes were not just intelligent, but had actually guided the Kulri civilization for thousands of years. Their telepathic abilities allowed them to share knowledge directly from mind to mind, speeding up learning and discovery. "The Drakes showed us how to reach the stars," Elder Yun explained during one meeting. "Now we hope they might help humanity do the same." "What do you mean?" June asked. Sue, who had become the main science advisor, answered, "Humans have a unique brain structure, one we have never seen before. When Nari first connected with you, She discovered something extraordinary. Tai nodded. Your species has natural telepathic potential that has not yet been activated. The drakes can sense this dormant ability and connect directly to it. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Are you saying all humans are potentially telepathic? Governor Shin asked. With training and drake assistance, yes. Elder Yun confirmed, which brings us to our proposal. The elder activated a crystal device that showed a floating image of a planet, not Earth or New Sol, but a world with huge oceans and 3 small continents. This is harmony. A world we have prepared for the remaining drake population we kept in stasis. It is here we hope to rebuild their numbers. It seems suitable for them, June said, studying the image. It is, however, we believe the drakes would benefit greatly from human assistance in their recovery. Elder Yun looked directly at June. We would like to invite a small group of human scientists and animal doctors to join the restoration project. You, Dr. Park, would lead this team. The offer took June's breath away. Leave New Sol, go to an alien world to help save a species, and perhaps to help humanity discover abilities you never knew you had. Elder Yun turned off the image. The drakes have specifically asked for your presence. Nari considers you family now. That evening, June sat alone in his clinic weighing the decision. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Sue entered, her blue-gray features now a familiar sight. You look troubled, she noticed. Elder Yun offered me an impossible choice. Sue sat across from him. Leaving your home is never easy. When Tay and I left on our mission, we knew we might never return yet. Here we are opening relations with a new intelligent species. It's not just about leaving, June admitted. It's about what I might find if humans truly have hidden telepathic abilities. It would change your civilization forever. Sue finished for him, just as the drakes changed ours. Before June could answer, a gentle mental touch brushed his mind. Outside the clinic, lit by moonlight, stood Nari. The drake had never come into the colony before. June and Sue hurried outside. The massive creature lowered her head to June's level, her many-sided eyes reflecting starlight in his mind. Images formed, June working alongside drakes on a beautiful world. Human children making their first mental connections, knowledge flowing between species. Then something new, a vision of danger. Strange ships, worlds burning, civilizations disappearing, and finally, 3 species standing together, Kyulri, human and drake, facing the unknown as allies. When the vision ended, June was on his knees, Sue helping him stand. What did she show you? Sue asked quietly. June looked up at the drake, understanding finally coming. The real reason they came to us, it was just about saving the drakes. His expression confirmed his suspicion. No, it was about saving all of us. Later that night, June stood at the window of his small home, looking up at the stars where the Kyulri ship still orbited. The planet in his mind, he could still feel the echo of Nara's vision, the dangers that waited in the vastness of space, and the hope that 3 species together might face what none could alone. He had become a veterinarian to help animals to ease suffering and preserve life now. It seemed that simple calling had led him to something far greater, the chance to help save not just the last drakes, but perhaps all 3 civilizations. With a deep breath, June made his decision. He would go to Harmony. He would help rebuild the drake population and explore the strange mental connection they shared. Whatever waited among the stars, they would face it together. 3 months had passed since June made his decision to join the Harmony Project. The small colony on the New World was growing daily. As more humans and Kyulri arrived to help with the drake restoration effort, June now lived in a simple home near the drake habitat where he could be close to his patients. The habitat was a large open space with both warm and cool areas to match the changing needs of the drakes. It included a lake for swimming and high platforms for the drakes to rest on. Nari and her 3 young ones were thriving in this environment, their health improving more each day. June sat on a rock by the lake watching as Min, the smallest of Nari's children, practiced flying short distances, his wings catching the sunlight and sending rainbow colors across the water. The young drake was still wobbly in the air but getting stronger. Sue approached and sat beside June. He is doing well, she said, her blue-gray skin looking more vibrant in the morning light. The Kyulri had adapted well to the planet's conditions. All 3 of them are, June replied, but Min is the most determined. He reminds me of human children always pushing boundaries. Sue made the small hand gesture that June had learned was a Kulri smile. It is good to see you happy, Dr. Park. When we first met, you were so serious. June laughed, the sound echoing across the water, causing Min to look their way. The young Drake sent a curious mental touch to June, who responded with a feeling of reassurance. The telepathic training was going well. June had discovered he had a natural talent for it. More than half of the human colonists had developed at least basic abilities to receive Drake thoughts. Though June was still the strongest, the children showed the most promise, often forming deep connections within days of arrival. A small group of human and Kulri scientists worked constantly to understand how the telepathic abilities worked and why humans seemed predisposed to develop them. Their theory was that Earth animals and humans had evolved alongside each other in ways that created neural pathways similar to what the Drakes used. A message alert sounded from June's communication device. Elder Yun requests our presence at the main research center. Sue immediately stood. We should not keep the elder waiting. The research center was the largest building in the colony, a blend of human practical design and Kulri crystal architecture. Inside, scientists of both species worked together, studying Drake biology, the telepathic process, and the strange illness that had nearly wiped out the Drake population. Elder Yun waited for them in the main meeting room. Along with Governor Shin and 2 other Kulri scientists, June noticed right away that something was wrong. The elder looked more serious than usual. Thank you for coming. Elder Yun said, we have received troubling news from the homeworlds. Governor Shin gestured to the large display screen on the wall. Show them what you showed us, one of the Kulri scientists activated a crystal device and an image appeared, showing a distant star system with several planets. June recognized it as the Kulri home system from his studies. But something was wrong. The third planet, Kul, the Drake homeworld, showed strange distortions around it. What are we looking at? June asked. Space-time anomalies, the scientist replied. Something is affecting the fabric of reality around Kul. It's not just Kul, Governor Shin added. The same pattern has been detected near 3 Earth colony worlds. Elder Yun leaned forward in his seat. We believe it is connected to what Nari showed you in her vision. Dr. Park, something is moving through our region of space, affecting worlds as it goes. The pattern suggests intelligence, not a natural phenomenon. The room went quiet as everyone considered the implications. How long do we have? June finally asked. At current progression, maybe 20 standard years before it reaches Earth, 15 before it reaches Kul. Elder Yun answered, but harmony is in its direct path. We may have only 10 years here. 10 years, June repeated. The time seemed both long and terribly short. We called you here because Nari refuses to communicate with our scientists. Governor Shin said she will only share what she knows with you. June was surprised. He had noticed that Nari seemed distracted lately, spending long hours staring at the sky. But she had not shared her thoughts with him. She will talk to me now. We need to know what the Drakes understand about this threat. Elder Yun said they have perceptions beyond our instruments. June nodded and left immediately, heading back to the Drake habitat. He found Nari on her favorite rock platform, her 3 children playing in the water below. When she saw June approaching, she raised her large head in greeting, her multicolored eyes focusing on him. You know about the anomalies, June said in his mind. Sending the thought directly to her, Nari responded with a flow of images, ancient memories passed down through generations of Drakes. June saw strange ships moving between stars, worlds changed or simply disappearing. Entire civilizations gone without a trace. The Drakes had encountered this force before long ago and had barely survived by hiding their world behind a mental shield created by thousands of Drakes working together. But that was long ago. June thought now. There are so few of you. Nari agreed with a sad feeling, then showed him something new. The work on harmony, the growing telepathic abilities of the humans, the unique 3-way connection forming between humans, Kulri, and Drakes. A new kind of shield, different from what the Drakes had created before, but potentially stronger. Hope June felt from Nari, but also urgency. They needed more time. I need to share this with the others, June thought. Is that okay? The Drake sent feelings of agreement. June hurried back to the research center, his mind racing with what he had learned when he arrived. He found the group still there, waiting. Nari Showed me everything. June said the Drakes have seen this before thousands of years ago. As June explained what he had learned, the faces around him grew more concerned. The threat was worse than they had imagined, a force that consumed entire worlds, but there was also hope in Naris' memories, a way to defend against it. Elder Yun listened carefully, then spoke. We need to accelerate our plans. All of them. The Drake breeding program, the telepathic training, the combined shield technology, everything. Governor, Shin nodded. I will contact Earth immediately. We need more resources, more people, especially children. They learn the telepathic skills fastest. It was decided that June would work directly with the Drakes to develop the most effective training methods for humans, while Sue would lead a team to create technology that could amplify the telepathic shield. The next few months were the busiest of June's life. He worked from sunrise to late night, teaching humans how to connect with the Drakes for the first time and to each other. The most exciting discovery was that once a human learned to connect with a Drake, they could then form weak connections with other humans without Drake assistance. It was as if the Drakes were unlocking something dormant in the human mind. Naris' children grew quickly, reaching adolescence and beginning to show unique personalities. Min was curious and playful, forming bonds with human children. Day was thoughtful and quiet, preferring to work with the scientists. Jin was a natural leader, already showing signs of the powerful telepathic abilities her mother possessed. One evening, as June sat by the lake resting after a long day of training, Jin approached him without her mother. The young Drake was nearly half Naris' size now, her wings fully developed and strong. Hello, Jin, June thought, smiling at the Drake. Instead of the usual feelings or simple images, Jin responded with clear words in June's mind. Time runs short, human friend. We must do more. June was shocked at the clarity of the communication Jin had developed, far beyond what they thought possible. Yes, we are working as fast as we can, he replied. Not fast enough, Jin sent with a feeling of urgency. Then she shared a new vision, showing June something none of them had considered before. The Drakes could connect, not just with present minds but with minds across time. Their telepathic abilities transcended the normal limitations of reality. We could warn them. Jin thought we could reach back and prepare, then warn. Who? June asked, confused. Those who came before, Jin answered. The ones who still sleep there. She sent an image of Earth and of humans who lived long ago. With abilities like those the colonists were developing. Humans had once had these gifts, but had lost them over time. If we can reach them, Jin thought, they can help us now. More humans with the ability means a stronger shield. June sat in stunned silence as he realized what Jin was suggesting. Connect across time itself to awaken abilities in humans throughout history, to create a network that spanned not just space but time as well. I need to tell the others, June said, standing quickly. This changes everything. Jin agreed with a mental touch as June hurried back to the research center, hope growing with each step. They had a new way to fight, a new path forward that none of them had imagined. June rushed into the research center, his heart beating fast with excitement and worry. What Jin had shown him could change everything. If it was really possible, he found Elder Yun, Governor Shin, and Sue already in a meeting discussing resource allocations. Need to speak with all of you right away, June said, trying to catch his breath. It's about the Drakes, about Jin. Elder Yun gestured to an empty chair. Please join us, Dr. Park. What has happened? June sat down and took a deep breath. Jin just communicated with me, not with feelings or images, but with clear words in my mind. Sue leaned forward. Unprecedented. The young Drakes should not have such abilities for many years. That's not all, June continued. Jin showed me something incredible. The Drakes can connect, not just with our minds here and now, but with minds across time. The room went silent. Everyone staring at June, explained. Governor Shin finally said, Jin believes we could reach back to Earth of the past, to earlier humans who had telepathic abilities like ours but lost them over time. If we can wake up those abilities in humans throughout history, we might create a network strong enough to defend against the threat. Impossible, one of the Culery scientists said. Time is fixed. Not to the Drakes, Elder, Yun said quietly. I have suspected for many years that their perception transcends our understanding of time. This is why they could see dangers coming long before our instruments could detect them. How would this even work? Governor Shin asked, practical. As always, we need to test it. June replied. Jin is willing to try with me as the anchor. She thinks if I focus on Earth and on specific times, she can extend her telepathic reach through me. Sue looked concerned. There are risks to your mind, Dr. Parkey. No, June said. But if there's even a small chance this could work, we have to try. The next day, they set up special equipment in the Drake habitat to monitor both June and Jin. During the attempt, Nari watched from nearby, her mental presence a calming influence. The other young Drakes, Min and Day, stayed back, observing with curious eyes. June sat on a comfortable mat facing Jin. The young Drake had positioned herself on a flat rock. Her wings slightly extended, her multifaceted eyes focused entirely on June. Remember, June, Elder Yun instructed. Focus on a specific time and place on Earth, something you know well from history. We need a clear target. June nodded and closed his eyes. He thought of stories his grandmother had told him about ancient Korea when shamans were said to speak with spirits and animals. He focused on that time and place, trying to make the image as clear as possible in his mind. Jin extended her mental touch. It felt different from Nari's, gentler but somehow deeper reaching, into parts of June's mind he hadn't known existed. He felt a strange pulling sensation, as if he were being stretched thin across a great distance. Then suddenly he was seeing through other eyes, standing in a forest clearing wearing simple clothes, made of natural fibers around him. People gathered watching as he performed a ritual that felt both strange and familiar. These were his ancestors from thousands of years ago, and he was experiencing life through the mind of a shaman. The connection lasted only moments before snapping back. June gasped and opened his eyes, finding himself back in the habitat on Harmony. Everyone was staring at him with concern. Are you all right? Sue asked, kneeling beside him. I saw them, June whispered. I was there, ancient Korea. I was in the mind of a shaman. I could feel his abilities. They were like ours, but untrained, natural. Jin sent a feeling of success, tinged with exhaustion. The young Drake was tired, but pleased. The monitors confirmed something extraordinary had happened. Unusual brainwave patterns in both June and Jin, matching frequencies that shouldn't have been possible. We need to try again, Governor Shin said. But with more people, we need to see if this connection can do more than just observe the past. Over the next weeks, they refined the process, discovering that with multiple human participants linked to Jin, they could create a stronger connection that lasted longer. With each attempt, they reached further back and to different locations around Earth, finding evidence of telepathic abilities in various human cultures throughout history. Most exciting was the discovery that they could leave a telepathic imprint, a seed of awareness that remained in the minds they touched. These historical humans wouldn't fully understand what had happened, but their latent abilities would begin to develop, creating a kind of telepathic network stretching across time. As Jin grew stronger, she was able to maintain these connections for longer periods, the young Drake developing abilities far beyond what even the Kulri had thought possible. June worked closely with her, forming a bond even deeper than the one he shared with Nari one evening, as the colony celebrated the success of their latest attempt with a large meal shared between humans and Kulri. June noticed Jin staring at the sky, her wings slightly extended in the posture that meant she was sensing something distant. June walked over to her. What do you see? The threat grows closer. Jin replied in his mind, it has noticed us. A chill ran through June. Are you sure? Yes. Jin sent an image of darkness moving between stars, changing direction, slightly heading directly for Harmony. It senses the shield we are creating and sees it as a challenge. How long do we have? June asked. Less than we thought. Jin answered, perhaps 5 years, not 10. June immediately shared this news with Elder Yun and Governor Shin. They called an emergency meeting of all colony leaders. We need to expand faster, Governor Shin said after hearing June's report. We need more people here. More Drakes, more training. The time network is helping, Elder Yun added, but we need something more immediate, a way to strengthen our defenses now. Sue, who had been quiet during the discussion, finally spoke. The Kulri records mention ancient Drake technology devices that could amplify their telepathic abilities. We dismissed these stories as myths, but now, where would we find such technology? June asked. On Kyul, Sue replied. In the deep caverns below the ancient Drake cities, there are rumors of crystal formations that resonated with Drake. Telepathy. Elder Yun looked troubled. Kyul is dangerously close to the anomalies. Now sending a team there would be risky, but necessary. June said the threat is coming here first. If we don't strengthen our defenses, we won't survive to help Earth. Or Kyul, it was decided that a small team would travel to Kyul to search for the crystal technology, while the work on Harmony continued. The mission would be dangerous but essential. June volunteered immediately. You cannot go. Governor Shin protested. You are too important to the training program here. I must go. June replied. I have the strongest telepathic connection with the Drakes. I will be able to sense the crystals if they exist. Jin sent her thoughts into the meeting. I will go with the human. He needs my abilities to find what we seek. This caused an uproar. Jin was one of only 4 Drakes in existence and by far the most telepathically gifted. Losing her would be devastating to their efforts. It is my choice. Jin projected strongly. I have seen this path. We will succeed. In the end, they could not deny the logic. The mission required both June's human connection and Jin's Drake abilities. Along with Kyulri knowledge of their homeworld, Sue would lead the expedition with a small team of scientists and security personnel. They would take a fast ship equipped with the best stealth technology the Kyulri had developed, hopefully allowing them to approach Kyul undetected by the anomalies. The night before their departure, June sat by the lake watching the 3 moons of Harmony reflect on the water. Nari approached and settled beside him, her large form comforting in the cool night. Ere you worry for Jin, she sent to his mind. Yes, June admitted. And for all of us this mission you have come far, human healer. Nari replied. When you first helped us, I saw only a kind doctor. Now I see a bridge between worlds. Do you think we can succeed? June asked. The Drake was quiet for a moment. I believe we must. She finally answered. 3 species together. Create something new. Something the darkness has never encountered before. As June looked up at the stars, he realized how much had changed in his life, from a simple veterinarian on a colony world to someone fighting to save 3 civilizations across time itself. The path ahead was uncertain, but he knew they had no choice but to follow it. Tomorrow, he would leave for Kyul with Jin and Sue to seek the ancient technology that might give them a chance against the coming darkness. The journey to Kyul took 12 days in the fastest Kyulri ship. June spent most of that time in deep telepathic training with Jin. The young Drake had grown remarkably in both size and ability since leaving Harmony. Now nearly 3/4 of her mother's size, her scales had developed a deeper blue color, with hints of silver along her spine. Sue and her team of 6 Kyulri scientists prepared equipment and studied ancient maps of the Drake caverns while 2 security officers monitored the ship's stealth systems, constantly watching for signs of the anomalies they were heading toward. The closer they got to Kyul, the more June could feel a strange sensation in his mind, like static electricity or the feeling before a storm. Jin felt it too, her telepathic touch becoming more focused, as if fighting against interference. That is the edge of the anomaly field. Sue explained when June described the sensation. It affects space-time and apparently telepathic abilities too. They approached Kyul from its night side, using the planet's moon as cover. The world below had once been beautiful, with vast forests and crystal cities built by Kyulri and Drakes working together. Now large sections showed the distortion effects of the anomalies, like ripples in reality itself. We will land near the mountain range of Korsu told them. The oldest Drake settlements were built inside those peaks. If the crystals exist, they will be deep in those caverns. The landing was tense as they navigated through weakening areas of the anomaly field, Jin projecting a kind of mental shield around the ship that seemed to help stabilize their passage. Finally, they touched down in a sheltered valley surrounded by tall blue mountains. They could only risk a short time on the surface. Sue warned they had perhaps 48 hours before the anomaly field would shift, making departure impossible. Jin and 4 Kyulri, including Sue, would make the journey into the caverns while the others remained with the ship. The surface of Kyul was cold, much colder than Harmony, with thin air that made June glad for his environmental suit. The Kyulri seemed less affected. Walking easily across the frozen ground, Jin moved gracefully despite the harsh conditions, her Drake physiology well adapted to the cold. We are close to the ancient city of Mireia, Sue said, pointing to a dark opening in the mountainside. That was our greatest shared settlement before the illness came. They entered the cavern system, Jin leading, the way her eyes able to see in the darkness better than any lights they brought as they moved deeper. June began to feel something, a faint resonance in his mind that grew stronger with each step. Jin felt it too, her excitement touching June's thoughts, the passages twisted downward, some natural, some clearly carved by intelligent hands. Occasional remnants of an advanced civilization appeared along the walls. Crystal light fixtures, long dead, intricate carvings showing drakes and Kyulri working together to build a world. After hours of careful descent, they entered a vast underground chamber so large their lights couldn't reach the distant walls or ceiling. A lake of still, dark water filled the center of the space. The air here was warmer and easier to breathe. "This is the Heart Shrine," Sue whispered with awe. "Our oldest stories speak of this place where the first bond between Drake and Kyulri was formed." Jin moved to the edge of the dark water. Her wings slightly extended, her mind reaching out. June followed, feeling drawn to her side together. They stared into the depths where a faint blue glow was just barely visible. "It's down there," June said, "the crystals we seek." Jin extended her thoughts to the group. "I must go into the water to reach them." June immediately shook his head. "It's too dangerous. We don't know what the anomalies have done to this place." "I am Drake," Jin replied calmly. "We are born of water and ice. This is our ancestral home. I will be safe before anyone could object further." Jin dove into the dark lake, disappearing beneath the surface, the water barely rippling as her sleek form cut through it. June kept his mind connected to hers, feeling her dive deeper and deeper into the lake, the pressure increasing, the darkness absolute except for the growing blue glow below. Finally, Jin reached the source, a vast formation of crystals growing from the lake bottom, pulsing with inner light. The moment Jin touched the crystals, June felt a surge of energy through their mental connection, an ancient power awakening after centuries of dormancy. Images flooded his mind, the history of the Drakes and Kyulri, the first contact between the species, the development of their shared civilization, and the creation of the crystal network that had once connected all Drakes across Kyuljin. Carefully selected several crystal clusters that detached easily from the larger formation. Then began her ascent back to the surface, the crystals glowing brighter in her grasp. When she emerged from the water, the entire chamber was illuminated by the blue light of the crystals, their power responding to Jin's mental touch. June could feel the energy they contained, vast and ancient, designed specifically to amplify telepathic connections. "We have what we came for." Jin projected to the group, "We must return quickly." They carefully packed the crystals in special containers Sue had designed, then began the long climb back to the surface. As they ascended, June noticed the mental static growing stronger. The anomaly field was shifting just as Sue had warned. "We need to hurry." June told the others, "The interference is getting worse." They increased their pace, reaching the surface as the strange distortions in the sky were becoming visible even to normal sight. The pilot of their ship sent an urgent message. The anomaly field was closing around them. They had less than an hour to reach the ship and break orbit. The journey back across the frozen landscape was tense every few minutes. Ground beneath them would shimmer and shift as if reality itself was becoming unstable. Jin extended her telepathic abilities, creating a bubble of stability around the group, helping them move more quickly. When they finally reached the ship, the anomalies were visibly closing in around them like a tightening net. The pilot had the engines running, ready for immediate takeoff the moment they were aboard. "We can't break through," that Sue said, looking at the distortions now almost completely surrounding them. "The ship's shields won't hold." Jin stood at the entry ramp of the ship, her form seeming to grow more majestic in the strange light of the anomalies. "I can create a path," she projected with confidence. "The crystals will help me focus." June stood beside her. "I will help anchor you." Together they faced the closing field of distortion, Jin placing the crystal clusters in a circle around her. As she extended her wings fully, the crystals responded to her mental command, beginning to pulse with increasing brightness. Jin reached out to June, their minds joining more completely than ever. Before he felt her draw on his human connection, using it to stabilize her Drake abilities. As she directed the crystal energy outward, a beam of blue light shot from The circle of crystals pushing back the anomalies, creating a narrow corridor through the distortions. The pilot immediately understood, firing the engines and lifting the ship along the path Jin was creating. The strain on Jin was enormous. June could feel her struggle to maintain the connection as the ship climbed higher and higher through the atmosphere. But she held firm, drawing deeper on the ancient power of the crystals. Finally, they broke through the last layer of the anomaly field into clear space beyond. Jin collapsed, the crystals now dim, their power temporarily exhausted. June caught her, helping her into the ship before the ramp closed behind them. "We did it," June said to Jin as the ship accelerated away from Kuel. "We have the crystals." Jin sent a feeling of tired satisfaction but also urgency. "We must return to Harmony quickly. The darkness sensed us, it knows what we have taken." The journey back was faster as they pushed the ship's engines to their limits. When they finally arrived at Harmony, they found the colony transformed defense systems had been established all around the planet, while new structures housed the growing population of humans and Kyulri, who had answered the call for help. Most impressive was the Drake habitat, where Nari welcomed them with joy at seeing her daughter return safely. Jin had grown during the mission in more than size. Her presence now commanded respect from all three species. The crystals were immediately taken to the research center, where teams began studying how to incorporate them into the telepathic network they were developing. The scientists were amazed at the power the ancient technology contained. 1 month later, they were ready to test the enhanced network. Jin and 12 other humans with strong telepathic abilities gathered in a circle around the largest crystal formation in the center of the Drake habitat. Nari and her other 2 children joined them, forming an inner circle, while Kyulri scientists monitored from nearby. As they joined minds, June felt the crystals amplify their connection, exponentially reaching not just across space to Earth and Kuel, but across time, strengthening the seeds they had planted in human history, awakening abilities that had lain dormant for thousands of years. The network spans all 3 worlds. Jin projected, her mental voice now strong and clear. It reaches through time itself. The shield grows stronger with each mind that joins. June could feel it too. A vast web of consciousness spreading outward and backward, creating a barrier that the approaching darkness could not easily penetrate, a defense made not of weapons or technology, but of connected minds united across species and time.